So in this lecture, we're going to look at an example of Young's modulus at work. We're going to study the stress at the base of the Washington Monument and the corresponding strain. So here's a picture of the beautiful monument. And in order to calculate the stress at the bottom, you need to know some parameters. You need to know the weight and also the size of the base. So I have some numbers for you here. So again, these are the questions we'll be asking. The compressive stress at the base of the monument. And also interestingly, the monument will actually compress itself because of its own weight. And as such, it's going to be actually a little bit shorter than it would be without the stress. So we wish to know just how much shorter it actually gets under its own weight. Wouldn't that be interesting to know? Okay, so look at the first question. You have to get a diagram for the dimensions of the monument. So here's a more detailed diagram, but we're just going to simplify things a little bit. Okay, we're going to think of it as a granite column with a weight which I found online to be 181,700 kips, KIP. What's a kip? Well, that's a unit that's rarely used these days in a physics textbook, but it actually means 1,000 pounds. That's what it means, okay? So it's a British unit. And we know that 2.2 pounds is about 9.8 newtons because 1 kilogram mass weighs 2.2 pounds on the surface of the earth, and yet in a free fall, the force pulling it down is mg. G is 9.8 meters per second squared. M is 1 kilogram, so that's 9.8 newtons. So we know the ratio of 9.8 newtons corresponding to 2.2 pounds. Okay, so with that, you can convert the weight to the conventional unit of newtons. Okay, also the height of the monument is about 555 feet or 169 meters. Okay, also we need to know the base area. Now this diagram is a little complicated for the base, so we're going to simplify it. Now here's the simplification. You can think of the base as a square with a cutout in the middle. And you can then easily calculate the area of the base. Basically, just take the large square area minus the small square area. These are given in inches. You have to convert that to meters eventually. So you find the area of the base to be 225 meters squared. Okay, that's a pretty large area. The weight is 8.9 times 10 to the 8 newtons. Okay. So that is 810 million newtons sitting on an area of 225 meters squared. So what is the stress? The stress is defined as force per unit area. So the weight of the monument per unit area at the base is how much? You can easily calculate that. Okay, so you have stress equals to force over area, that's the definition, and the force at the base is just mg, right? Mg. Divided by the area, A, and I know what mg is. Once again, that's 8.1 times 10 to the 8 newtons, divided by the area is 225 meters squared. Okay, so you get an answer, which is 3.6 times 10 to the 6 Newton per meter squared, otherwise known as Pascal. So this is 3.6 million Pascal, okay, MPa. All right, so this is the stress at the base. Now, perhaps you're more familiar with the unit of PSI when it comes to force per unit area. What's PSI? PSI is pound per square inch, okay? So 1 PSI, you can do this conversion. You can convert newtons back to pounds and square meters to square inches. And if you do the conversion, you'll find that 1 PSI is equal to 6.9 times 10 to the 3 Pascal. And with that, you can find the stress in PSI. It is equal to about 520 PSI. So you have some idea now, the force applied to the base per unit area. For every square inch, you know what a square inch is, right? The force of due to the weight of the monument on every square inch of area at its base is about 520 pounds. That's quite a lot, 520 pounds on every square inch. You know, that's a lot more than the force that a person would exert, you know, at our foot, okay, per square inch. All right, so let's look at a related example. First of all, before we go any further, this kind of stress, is that something the granite as a material can sustain? You know, for every material, there is a compressive strength, and that is whatever stress you apply to the material, you cannot go over that, otherwise it might break. Okay, the compressive strength of granite will actually varies from due to different types of granite, but typically you're looking at compressive strength of 140 MPa. Okay, 140 MPa. MPa. The stress that we have, according to our calculation, is 3.6 MPa. So this is a lot greater than 3.6 MPa, meaning that the base made of granite can certainly withstand the stress. It's nothing. Okay, this monument is not nearly tall enough to cause a real problem as far as you know, a stress that it cannot hold at the base. There's plenty of room for safety. That answers the first part of the question. How much is the stress at the base of the monument, and whether this is within the limit of the strength of the granite? And the answer is definitely yes. Now we can look at another part of the problem, that is the monument will actually be shorter than it would be because it's compressing itself due to its own weight. How much compression is caused by the weight of the monument? Well, the problem here is that if you look at this monument, okay, you can think of this as a you know, as a cylinder, as a column of uniform cross-section area for simplicity. Different parts of this column has to support different amount of force, because look at the base here. At the base, you have to support all the weights above you, but in the middle, you only have to support half the weight. So the stress is different at different parts, assuming the cross-section area A is the same. Okay, and because of that, for each segment, you look at a segment in the middle versus a segment at the base. If the thickness of the segment is the same, the area of the cross-section of the segment is also the same, then the segment at the base will have twice as much compression as the segment in the middle of the column, because it has to support twice the weight. Okay, so you're looking at a variable stress problem. In order to deal with that, what we need to do then is to mentally divide this monument or this column into many, many pieces. Okay, so look at this piece dx. I'm going to use a coordinate system x, which starts from the top of the monument going downwards. Okay, here's the top of the monument going downwards. And then we're going to look at an infinitesimally small piece of the column right here. This little piece right here. Okay, and the thickness of this piece is dx. You want to know how much compression this piece would be under the weight above it, which it has to support. Okay, now in general, the amount of compression or elongation under a certain amount of stress is delta L equal to 1 over y times L times f over a. L is the original length, delta L is the length change due to the stress. In our case, you look at this little segment, the original length is actually dx, right? And the amount of compression for this little piece, we call it dy. So what is dy equal to? Well, dy is the delta L in the generic formula. Okay, so we're looking at dy, which is the little compression of this little segment right here. What is that equal to? 1 over y, okay, times the length of the segment, which is dx, okay, and then times what? F over a, the stress applied on this segment. It is all due to the weight above it. The weight above it is not over the total weight. If the total mass is big M, then the weight of the entire column is big M times G, but the mass above this little piece is small m, and small m is a fraction of the total mass, assuming the cross section is uniform. Okay, so here's the formula that tells me the mass of the column above this segment dx, right? So you have, this is the mass, small mass is the mass of the column above it, because it's a fraction of the total mass, and the fraction is x over L. X is the length of the column above dx, and L is the total length, or this whole thing, we call it L, okay? This whole thing, we call it L. It's also known as H, if you want to use that. So the mass, the weight above it is small m times G, okay? Small m times G, and you divide the cross-section area A. Now, small m, again, is big M, is the total mass big M times x over the total length L. So I can rewrite this as mg, as I'm replace small m with big mass times x over L. So it's now it's big mass, and then it's G, and then y and A. I'm keeping all these constants up front, then I have x dx. Okay, x is a variable. And that's dy. Right? So again, what is dy? The amount of compression of this little tiny piece dx. Now, what's the total amount of compression of the entire column? That is the summation of dy, so that's delta y. And that is the integral over dy. Okay, so I'm going to take all these constants out, mg, y, a, l, and then you have x dx. Integrate over from 0 to the overall length L of the entire column, and then you can easily find the answer to that. That is mg over 2 y a, and then you have an x squared integrated 1/2 x squared integrated between 0 to L. That's 1/2 L squared. 2 is right here, and you have L squared over L. So overall, you have an L here. So that is delta y, the total amount of compression. Now, it's interesting for us to find the actual value, but numerical value. But before we do that, let's think about it this way, okay? The reason why I had to do an integral was because the stress is different for different parts, right? So otherwise, I could simply use this formula. I simply could have used this formula, right? But you know what? I can still use this formula if I can find the average stress, don't you think? If there's a way to find the average stress. So delta L or delta Y, it's the same thing actually, so delta Y. Can I write this as 1 over Y times the length L, and then I can use big L if I want to, times the average force applied divided by A. Can I do that? Well, yeah, you can always do that if you can find the proper average. Now, the force that compresses a certain segment varies from 0 at the very top to the whole weight mg at the very bottom right here. What is the average value of that? Well, you might say the average value is 1/2 of the maximum value. That is not always true, okay? But in this case, you know what? It's actually true, because the force F, which is the weight above this segment dx, varies linearly from 0 to total mass times g at the bottom. For a linear function, the average value is actually the value at the middle. Okay, it's 0 plus final value, which is big mass times g over 2. So I can, in fact, write this down as L over Y, A, and then the average force is just mg over 2. That 2 in the numerator, in the denominator is actually due to the average. And you can see here, these two expressions are the same. Okay, so we got it right. So this is also correct. Okay, but again, this is only true because we're looking at the average value of a linear function, and that's the value in the middle. So anyhow, we can now find the numerical value of how much compression the monument will be would actually experience due to its own weight. So we have delta y equals to, let's see here, L is the total height, okay, which is also known as h. Here I have the h, the height, which is 169 meters, right? 169 meters. So 169. I'm using prime SI units, okay, and you have to divide by the Young's modulus of granite, right? Yeah, assuming the whole thing is made of granite. Now, the Young's modulus of granite actually also varies because it's, you know, there's different types of granite, but a typical value that we can find is 800 let's see here, is 40 GPa. G is giga, it's 10 to the 9, okay? So it's 40 times 10 to the 9 in SI unit. And the area, as you know, that's 225. I'm using, again, prime SI units, okay? And the mass times G, that's the weight. We know what the weight is. The weight is already calculated before. It's 8.1 times 10 to the 8 newtons. Okay, you do this calculation, and what do you think? Did you expect a lot of compression due to its own weight? Well, believe it or not, when you do the calculation, find the answer to be about 7.5 millimeters. 10 to the negative 3, the unit is meters, it's prime SI unit, and that's 7.5 millimeters. That's not much compression at all, right? I mean, it's 169 meters tall. It only gets shorter due to its own weight by 7.5 millimeters, which is not much at all. So it's not remarkable, meaning that even though there's a very tall granite column, granite is extremely strong, and the amount of compression caused, the stress caused, is really not enough to cause a significant amount of strain. So that is one way to, that is an example of how to apply the concept of Young's modulus. We also learned the idea of compressive strength of a material. All right, so this is our last lecture on chapter 12. After that, we're going to switch gears. We're going to get into a series of chapters that each deals with a special topic in mechanics. We're going to apply our knowledge, our general principles that we learned before to apply to special cases. In the next chapter, we're going to look at universal gravitation. And after that, we'll be studying oscillations, waves, sound, and so forth. So it's about to get more interesting after this.